The morning light spilled across the wooden floor of the flea market, illuminating dust particles that danced like memories in the air. I ran my fingers along the edge of an old writing desk, admiring its sturdy craftsmanship despite the scratches that told of decades of use. At 28, I developed a habit of hunting for vintage furniture to fill my small apartment, each piece carrying stories I could only imagine. "That's Norwegian," said the elderly vendor, appearing beside me like a character from a forgotten novel. "Solid oak. Made them to last back then." Something about the desk called to me. Perhaps the rich amber color of the wood, or the simple, elegant lines that whispered of another era. The price was reasonable for such craftsmanship, and I found myself agreeing to purchase it before I'd fully thought it through. Two friends helped me carry it up 3 flights of stairs to my apartment. After they left, I spent the evening polishing the wood, revealing deeper, richer tones beneath years of neglect. My fingers discovered a slight irregularity in the desk's frame, a panel that seemed slightly off-kilter compared to its surroundings. Curious, I pressed gently around the edges, feeling for any movement. With a soft click, a hidden drawer no larger than a paperback book slid partially open. My heart quickened. I carefully extracted the drawer completely, revealing a single envelope, yellowed with age, sealed and addressed in faded ink. The date in the corner caught my eye immediately. 7th of May, 1945. May 7th, 1945. The day before Nazi Germany's unconditional surrender was announced to the world. The handwriting was precise yet hurried, as if written by someone with little time to spare. The envelope bore no stamp, suggesting it had never been sent. I hesitated, feeling like an intruder across time, but curiosity overwhelmed my reservations. With careful fingers, I opened the envelope to find a letter written in Norwegian, the paper thin and delicate like autumn leaves. A small black and white photograph fell out. A young man in military uniform, his expression serious but with gentle eyes that seemed to look beyond the camera. Though I couldn't read Norwegian, I recognized the signature at the bottom. Andreas. The next day, I took the letter to Karin Larson, my former linguistics professor who had emigrated from Bergen decades ago. Her eyes widened when she saw the date. "This was written on the eve of liberation," she said, her voice reverent. Norway had been under German occupation for 5 long years. As Karin translated, Andreas's words came alive across the decades. He was a resistance fighter, part of the Norwegian underground, that had fought against Nazi occupation since 1940. The letter was addressed to Elise, the woman he loved, explaining that his unit was preparing for one final mission, as the German forces were beginning to surrender. "My dearest Elise," the letter began, "by the time you read this, our country will be free again. The darkness that has covered our land for 5 years is finally lifting." Andreas wrote of his dreams for their future together. A small farm near the fjords, children playing in summer meadows, peaceful evenings by the fireside, dreams that had sustained him through the brutal occupation. He promised to return to her within days once his final mission was complete. "Keep this letter close until I can hold you again," he wrote. "The Germans are surrendering, and soon I will come home to you. We will build the life we've whispered about during these dark years." But Andreas never delivered his letter, and based on Karin's research in the following days, he never returned to Elise. His name appeared on a list of resistance fighters killed during a skirmish with retreating German forces on May 8th, Liberation Day itself. He had died mere hours before freedom was fully realized, becoming one of the last Norwegian casualties of the war. "What about Elise?" I asked Karin. "What happened to her?" The question launched us into an unexpected journey. We started with war records, then moved to municipal archives and church registries. Online forums for Norwegian genealogy provided additional clues. Each step revealed fragments of Elise's story. A young woman who had worked as a nurse during the occupation, who had waited for news of Andreas until autumn of 1945 before accepting he would never return. The records showed she had never married. She had moved to Oslo, trained as a teacher, and dedicated her life to educating children. Former students remembered her as kind but reserved, with a sadness behind her smile that never fully disappeared. She had passed away in 1997, her obituary noting her contributions to education and her involvement with veterans organizations that preserved the memory of resistance fighters. 3 months after finding the letter, I stood in front of a small white house on the outskirts of Trondheim. My research had led me here to the home of Maya Solberg, Elise's niece and only surviving relative. Maya was in her 60s with the same gentle eyes I'd seen in photos of her aunt. When I explained my discovery and showed her the letter, she invited me inside, tears welling in her eyes. Tante Elise spoke of her Andreas until her final days, Maya said, serving coffee in delicate china cups. She always believed he had died trying to reach her. She never knew what happened to him or why he never returned. In Maya's living room, photographs chronicled Elise's life, a beautiful young woman with determination in her eyes, growing older through the decades, always with that hint of melancholy Karin had mentioned. She kept his memory alive all those years, Maya continued. She told me stories of their secret meetings during the occupation, how they would exchange messages through a network of resistance contacts, how they planned a future together when Norway was free again. From a wooden chest, Maya retrieved a small box containing Elise's most treasured possessions, among them a resistance medal awarded posthumously to Andreas, which she had collected on his behalf. There was also a pressed wildflower from their last meeting in April 1945, preserved between pages of poetry. She would have treasured this letter, Maya said, carefully holding Andreas's final words. To know that he was thinking of her, planning their life together, even in those final hours. Would you like to keep it? I offered. It belongs with Elise's family. Maya shook her head gently. I think this letter has found its way to you for a reason. Perhaps you were meant to uncover this story, to give Andreas's final words the journey they never completed. We decided on a compromise. The original letter would be donated to the Norwegian Resistance Museum in Oslo, where it would join other artifacts that told the story of ordinary people who had fought extraordinary battles for freedom. Maya would keep a copy, and so would I. A reminder of two lives separated by war, but connected by love that survived even death. Before leaving Norway, I visited Andreas's grave in a small churchyard overlooking a fjord. Someone, likely resistance comrades or perhaps Elise herself, had ensured his sacrifice was properly honored. The simple headstone read, Andreas Dahl, 1917 to 1945. He gave everything for Norway's freedom. I placed wildflowers on his grave, thinking of the letter that had waited 75 years to be discovered, hidden in a desk that had somehow survived decades of change and movement to find its way to my apartment. How many other stories, I wondered, remain hidden in plain sight around us? How many promises and dreams wait silently in forgotten objects, in attics and flea markets across the world? The thought stayed with me as I returned home, to the desk that now held new meaning. There's something powerful about physical connections to the past, objects that bear witness to moments of both tragedy and hope. When I sit at Andreas's desk to write, I sometimes imagine him doing the same on that May evening in 1945, pouring his heart onto paper, believing in a future that was never to be. His desk carries on, though, and in a way, so does his story. His words finally made their journey into the world, even if they arrived decades later than he had planned. Sometimes I wonder, what forgotten stories might be hiding in the ordinary objects around you?